On with chapter 3. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screens, some which are obviously coming back from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated, from screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system. It reminds me of a miniature version of an operation center of just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently, looking for some pertinent bit of information. Where's the first aid kit? I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks as if he'd forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. Oh yeah, he says, rushing to the left side of the room. There, he hunkers down by the open panel in the wall, what I assume is an emergency vault from what we got in the rifle. Look at the monitors. He could be fucking with us. I can make sense of the very little that I see. Mostly numbers, oddly looking maps and charts. Altogether they show what I assume is working beating heart of a peculiar facility Denis and I have stumbled into. Aside from the charts, there are some scrolling numbers running along the bottom of the screen. Some are temperature readings, but that's all I can tell for sure. I see one screen in particular that I assume would mean bad news for anyone using these monitors for work. Failure. Trial 142B aborted. Error from... okay. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to the motion Denis over, he's paler than ever. Come on, I tell him. But he's not moving from the place on the floor, where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over him, and go scrambling to get his sight. Between the struggle for the rifle upstairs and arriving on the room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up, and then over his shoulders, as the dry blood holds in its place. The mere act causes him to grimace. This might hurt a little, I tell Denis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. Pull it off gently. I hate that noise. It makes me feel like I'm doing something bad. I lift the shirt off gently as I make sure it makes a sucking sound. There's so much blood that the moisture tries to keep the shirt pulled to him. Dennis lets out a little moan, but seems to relax, in spite of his injuries. With the shirt fully removed, the extent of his injuries become more clear. His wound is more visible now, although it's particularly hidden by the blood that has been started to claw around it. The medical knowledge is slim, basically just a bunch of basics I learned in Boy Scouts. I look over to the Marcus hopefully, and ask, "You have any training?" "Zero. Sorry." It's just as well, I guess. He's far too concerned with what's happening to the monitors to be much of any help anyway. I start by taking out the several rolls of gauze, not gauze, within the kit, and wipe as much blood as I can away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I figured. From the start, the gash is deep and dark. It's pretty sure infected, too. He's gonna need stitches, that's for sure. But I have no idea how to even start with that. Besides, I don't see tools for it in this kit. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, he responds with a hoarse yelp of surprise, but nothing more. His eyes are locked on me, and he looks appreciative, but he's also scared. "Be honest, Denis," says hopefully. "How bad does it look? You think I'll live?" "You'll be fine, buddy. You'll be fine, dude." "Good to know," he says, because I sure don't feel like that. "You've been through hell," I say. "I think it feels worse than it actually looks." "Thanks, that's a relief." "I won't lie. You're gonna have a scar," I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humor in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as I finish up. Keep an eye on him. I place one layer of gauze against the wound and bind it with the medical tape. I find them reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. Thanks, Roger, he says, actually managing to force out a smile. I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. Finally, I patch up the bruises on my head a bit, cursing myself again for not bringing my hat. The damn hat's always on your mind, dude. Shut up about the hat. I look back at Marcus, and he is looking back at us, deep in thought. My eye is starting to really swell up from where he kicked me earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have let him off so easily. Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility? I ask him. If there's something better, I don't know about it. I notice then that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something is different. Now, there's a slight change to his demeanor. He's seen something on those monitors that has him frightened, more than he already was before. What is it? What's wrong? His eyes travel for the room. It's obvious that he's trying to decide whether or not to tell the truth. Look at the monitors. Rather than wait for him, I go out and scan the screens behind me, seeing if I can find any clues and I missed it moments ago. After a few moments, I see a few things that even I comprehend hidden in the complex information of the most of the screens. On the screen, I see what looks like a power meter that's slowly climbing upwards. A single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure, foreign entity." Another message trickling along the bottom of the black screen says, "Safety locks on level 3, containment doors engaged, override." I see still scenes on a few other screens that I assume are security cameras showing hallways and passages from elsewhere in the facility. One of them shows the first level hallway we were on just a few minutes ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize. The floor is covered in blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think might be a human body, but it's bent in an impossible way. It looks like the body's legs and torso have somehow been merged or melted into the floor. What's wrong with the systems? What happened to that person? That's why I want to know what the fuck happened. What are you making here? I have no idea. I didn't see it. Whatever happened to that guy must have happened the last minute or so. What the hell? There's something still happening? Are we still in danger? He turns away, clearly fearing that he has already said too much. And as bad as that is, there's a scene on another monitor that makes my blood go cold, and my fears spike to levels somewhere near terror. The scene is very familiar. It's the logging site. The equipment is unmistakably mine. I can see that in my truck. Something like a fury starts to rise up in my gut, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment, I consider just tearing into him. A few punches and shove against the wall, nothing more. I want answers, and I want them now, but I'm not sure which could provide the answers, asking calmly or kicking his ass. He's got training, so maybe not kick his ass. Let's just question him, calmly. Could you please explain to me why you've been spying on my crew? My anger is prodding at me, and I have to hold it back again. It's near the surface, demanding a release. It was part of my job. Mine and your crew have been watched over since your setup and your equipment. Why? Because you're working with heavy equipment, some of which digs into the ground, less than a mile from our security government facility. I had no idea that. How could I have known? Marcus gives him the same crooked, trembling smile that is beginning to creep me out. Because those things would draw attention to this place. You have no idea how secretive this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy by about 300 yards. Every piece of your equipment is on private property. The timber tract you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't have without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low level clearance knows this much about my logging crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why didn't you recognize us when we met in the hallway? He shakes his head and exhales, like it's obvious. The cameras have a bird's eye view. I can't see faces. We just track bodies and names. Ask calmly again. So since you have all the surveillance, do you know where the rest of my crew is? I do my best to keep my voice level, even through my impulse to shout. Well, all of you were in the site as usual before the incident. It has been a few hours since I had checked through. They might have come near the facility, or maybe not. I don't know. Well, are they inside the facility? You have cameras everywhere, right? Do you see them? I've been looking all over and I haven't seen your crew. They aren't here. But the lower levels don't have any cameras. Classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do they know everything about us? I'm telling you, Marcus says, the depth of influence in this facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of those employees, only 5 other people know this place exists. I'm just gonna ask him calmly because it's the best solution so far. What do all these people do here? I ask, keeping a voice level. He doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any further. He actually laughs when he goes to the answer. I honestly don't know everything. Probably very little, but what I do is what is more than Black Ops. What does that mean? There are scientists here who have been disowned by their own governments because of the nature of their own work. You get it now? I don't. Not at all. But I don't want him to know that. You said there were 36 employees. Where are they now? He shakes his head. As far as I know, everyone else is gone. Gone where? He points to the screen that still informs us of the unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Denis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. Look, I say, furious with the way he is talking in riddles. I don't... Hey, boss, Denis says with his voice flat and toneless. He stands up and he's looking blankly at me, at the monitors. My eyes follow his, and when I see what's on the monitor, my heart pounds in my chest. Who is that? He asks, indicating the portion of a leg sticking out of the overturned dozer. The guilt slams into me like a bullet between the eyes. In my panic and fear, I avoided even trying to pull him out. More than that, I still haven't told Denis. Holy shit. He says, looking closer. It's Tony. He's dead. Denis looks like he's been punched in the stomach. He looks at me, unbelieving. Did you know? Oh, I knew it was gonna come back to bite me in the ass. Yes. You knew Tony was dead this whole time and you didn't tell me? This whole time? He stands up and lunges at me, but is too weak. I take a step back, avoiding his advance. What good would it have done? I ask. You'd still be hurt and we'd still be here anyway. I didn't want to add more to the plate. He only glares at me and I think I see some sort of dull understanding in his eyes. Suddenly something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fast and in the shadow. But I am pretty sure it is a person. Someone else is in here, Marcus says. Wheeling around, he sounds very happy to discover this, so I try to follow his lead. If something bad happened at this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good sign, right? We should check it out, he says. But I can't help but feel like this is a bad moment to leave Denis. As I turn to tell him, I'm heading out with Marcus, he's not even looking at me. It's clear that he's still pissed that I kept him in the dark about Tony. I should have told you. Well, maybe you could have realized that. I don't know, before waiting God knows how many hours? It starts ringing in the small room. All I can do is look at the floor. This guy is practically my best. He stops talking and I can tell he's stifling a sob. I'm so sorry, Denis. I start. About Tony. About not telling you. Just go check out what that person might be, he says, cutting me off. I turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out to investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they might not be hesitant to shoot a stranger as I was. I nod at him as I head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand, and I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With a final look back at Denis, I run out into the second level hallway. Oh, I knew it was gonna come back to bite me. I knew it. Like, I knew if I didn't tell him, it was gonna come back to bite me. But here's the thing, I didn't tell him right then because, well, the dude just got up. He just awoken from whatever happened to him. Like, I don't think you don't want to hear that when you first wake up, do you? Oh, hey, dude, man, your friend's dead. You know, it's just, that's not me. This is very intriguing. I like what's going on here. It really just kind of drives you into the story of all what's going on. Marcus follows. There's still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We take off after the figure that we just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away, I notice that this level of facility seems darker even though the lights are now all on. The hallway is adorned with numbered yellow doorways and large white panels along the halls. It's clean and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead, I see the fleeting motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives a nod, and we continue chasing after the person we saw blazed by the command center just a few moments ago. It then occurs to me that this person could be, like Marcus, was at first armed and scared. Shouting again is still a bad idea because if this thing is still in here, that could be just a dinner bell, really. When we reach the intersection in the hall where I'd seen the shadow moving, I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have the rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've been countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there, about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small, mousy build. She looks terrified and is visibly scared, shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat with a dark jeans and green Converse low tops. I have a strange sense that her fear is not just about our sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for a while now. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's now holding a weapon. She's not holding a weapon. Marcus slowly approaches, taking a few steps ahead of me. It's Amy, right? He asks. She blinks, seemingly surprised that he knows her name. Yes. And you're Marcus. She nods absently, and then looks to me with the rifle. I'm not going to use it. Now, how do I know that? He asks. You're trespassing on government property in the middle of a huge catastrophic event, and you have a rifle. How am I supposed to believe you? I have a friend back in the command center who needs medical attention, I say, and we're looking for the rest of our crew. I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are, she says. Do you know what happened? Marcus asks. From the power outage. I don't know what caused it, she says, but there was an experiment taking place and an outage occurred, something happened, and she trails off, giving me a look of distrust. I saw things on the security monitors, Marcus says. The experiment failed, didn't it? I don't know the specifics, Amy says. I barely escaped the third room. I was going to go to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, but then I saw you and the gun. Listening to their conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. What experiments? Amy looks to me, her eyes wide and terrified. Who are you anyway? She asks. I quickly give her my story. A logger stranded in the woods following a peculiar explosion at the logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her eyes. You're one of the loggers? Yes. She then looks to Marcus and says, I thought they were being watched. They were, Marcus says. This was a freak accident and there's no proof that they were responsible. I feel myself wanting to submit to all the questions that are piling up in my head, but Denis is waiting for me. Yeah, I wonder what happens to my friend here. I decide that despite my curiosity, I need to get Denis help as soon as humanly possible. Look, is there any medical help to be had or not? I ask. Probably, Amy says, but you have to find Colonel Barksdale. He knows where all those sort of supplies are. And where is he? Where is everyone else? I ask. At this point, Amy starts to weep. She falls to her knees as if someone had struck her from behind. Gone, she says. Some were killed and some were just I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me. The hell is going on here? Something's here with us, Amy says. We were conducting an experiment and it all went horribly wrong. Something came through. Came through what? Marcus asks. I didn't even know that much. An entity, but whatever it is, it's still here somewhere, Amy responds. How could you not know? Don't you have fully secured access? I ask. No, I have access to almost everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance. So what do you suggest we do? I ask. I'm not sure, she says, wiping her tears away. But if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge. Where is he? I ask. Down on the 3rd floor, in the hangar. Then let's go, I say. It's not that easy, Amy says, again looking to the rifle in my hands. Why not? Like I said, something came through, and when the power went out, there's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level. What came through? All I know is that the others refer to them as entities. Amy shudders as she recalls the horror that she has seen. I don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look, she says. All I did was run for my life. Behind me I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but I didn't feel like sticking around to learn more. She's right, Marcus says, stopping my train of thought. The things I saw in the monitors, it's crazy. This is insane, I break up. I'm going to the 3rd level to find Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus says, I'm sticking with you. If we want to get out of here, we have to find Barksdale, right? Yes, but Barksdale's on the 3rd floor and it's too dangerous to go back there. I figure I'll let them make their decisions in the meantime. I start heading back to the command center to get Denis. Before I get there, I hear the footfalls behind me. Getting closer. I give Amy a questioned look and she quickly looks away, clearly torn. Neither one of you know your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide. Like her or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. And let's get Denis from the command center and head down together. Well, I'm getting a Stranger Things kind of vibe. I've only seen like 2 episodes of the show, but I'm getting a Stranger Things kind of vibe here, and I'm not liking this. We enter the command center, and I'm happy to see that Denis has regained some sort of color. We're going to get you some help, I'll tell him. And then we're going to find out our crew and get the hell out of here. More help would be great, he says. But the way you took an hour to get my shirt off earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Wait, Amy says, maybe one of us should stay here with him. I'll be okay, Denis says. He stands on his feet with a grunt. You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility is not safe. What can they do? What are there any on them on this floor? These are both really interesting questions. These are good questions. Because, like, it's important to understand what we're dealing with, but at the same time, it's important to know if they're here. You know, like, are they in this room right now? Is the question. But if they're here, that's a bad thing. But it's good to know what we're dealing with, in a sense. What are these entities? Well, obviously they can do something that's horrific. Are there any of them in the room? This could be a question I need to know. I'm not sure, she says. But they are down on the 3rd floor, so we'll need to be careful. Marcus looks a little hesitant, but he nods his agreement, and then the 4 of us exit the command center, heading back into the hallway. I look back to the monitors. I take a final look at the screens that shows us my wrecked logging site and feel a pang of sorrow. Then I look to the other monitors, showing live feeds of the facility security cameras. I try to tell myself that I'm not looking any sign of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing, and there's no need to pretend otherwise. We head back through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us. It's like a physical presence. If I see any, whatever that thing is from Stranger Things, the mahogana, whatever it's called, I'm not gonna like this. This is gonna be hell. We step inside the elevator and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to be much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her that I mean no harm, but I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So you have pretty high clearance in this place, right? I ask her. That's right. So what kind of experiments are we talking about? What went wrong? When she starts to answer my question, I can tell that it is something of a relief of her to get something out of her chest. There's been a lot of work on the project taking place here over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out if there are any real viable signs behind point-to-point instantaneous. Ugh, God, I'm choking up. Instantation, like teleporting, I ask. Oh my God, Marcus says. I had no idea. I knew there was some weird stuff here, but something this insane? It's really not all that insane, Amy says. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on the level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. The trip took the rat 5 seconds. Are you kidding me? Denis says. I can tell that he wants to sound as if he is mocking the idea, but he fails. He's scared. Not at all, Amy says. The problem was that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached, and its intestines were on the outside of his body. My throat is choking up, like, I've been talking for so long. Yeah, what's that to do with us now? Well, about 6 months ago, we successfully made the same experiment. The rat arrived in great health at this point in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things that we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe was how to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter of being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together upon arrival. Unknit? Yes. Deconstructed and translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it right now. But the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the deconstructed subject on a straight course on its destination. When the process occurs, we are deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space, and that was a risk. Why exactly? Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we exist on, she explains. There are some evidence that there are as many as 10. So when you send the rat to New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get here, basically. And because of that, we were trying to get a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. Thing that a great deal of population would be scared of it if they knew that they were doing. Hence all the privacy. Then today the power went out, and we were right in the middle of the experiment. Something happened. What? I don't know. She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she's talking about. What have you seen those dimensions? Other worlds, other trig-marked universes where our laws of nature don't apply, she says, not bothering to explain what she means. I'm not cleared for such things, but I do get the reports. What reports? Marcus asks. I've given access to the results of the tests. In other words, Marcus replies, clearly upset, you guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see. I can't believe I wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. He looks like he's starting to freak out. Amy is quiet. Her expression indicates that she's waiting to see how I react to all this. So, this is like interdimensional stuff, I ask. In a way, Amy answers. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he says. All this time I've been working for. He laughs cruelly, and the sound of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. Just a single level beneath my feet, you assholes have been tearing apart space and time. Then the elevator door opens. I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside the elevator, we step into what appears to be a massive industrial area. The carnage waiting for us is unlike anything I'd seen in the upper levels. Are you kidding me? This is a hellhole. Are you joking me? The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But only noticeably that there's all this blood. My god, I've never seen so much blood. Those creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There are more personnel in this area than when the experiment went haywire. Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get moving, or we're going to lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Barkdale is in the hangar. If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Denis is doing much better, but I am beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood of the floor, the silence of the level 3, and Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. I'll go first, stay behind me. You oh, I've got the rifle, so I gotta do it. Oh! Oh, come on! I don't want to take the lead. What if something jumps on my ass and I die? I don't want to be the first one to get killed, but yeah, I don't want to push someone in the front because that'd be terrible. Especially Amy, because, well, Amy seems to know what she's doing, so if we lose her, we're screwed. If we lose Amy... stay behind me. For the 4 of us start walking ahead with me in the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks like 3 different people. It is hard to tell how many bodies were because they were all torn to shreds and are distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they have been fused together. Oh great, it's the thing. Just mix that in there. Another man looks to have been his leg welded through the floor. I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror. His mouth pried open in internal scream. Oh boy. Here's the thing, right? I'm getting Stranger Things. The movie Thing, the John Carpenter's The Thing. let's not stop, because this place is a level 3 and there's these things everywhere. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. It's simply too much. Worse than that, in the fact that we have started our journey through level 3. If there's worse waiting up ahead, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Denis steps beside me, and when he speaks, his voice is soft and flat. What the hell could do that to someone, he asks. The thing I saw, Amy answers. They could do it pretty easily, I think. She looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at the moment. Tears spill from her eyes, and she is visibly shaking. But she soldiers on, looking back at me and stepping on the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eyes again go to my rifle. She doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go? She asked me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. Let's just keep going. We can't do much dilly-dallying. We leave the grisly lit site behind, moving into another equally destroying area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't been destroyed. It's been physically alerted in a way that makes no sense. The girders look to have been warped. The materials distorted and twisted. To my right, a machine has been encapsulated and looks to have somehow merged with the wall rather than crashing into it. Beyond these phenomena, there was a stranded violence I would expect to see. Standard violence I would expect to see. There was a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage, and more blood. I see no sign of explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. Did you see how these people died? That's a bit fucked up. I only caught a glimpse of it, she says, taking a deep breath. I was closest to the exit, so I just started running. But it was like trying to get focus in your eyes on something that was too close. People's bodies were starting to twisting and turning. And the thing that did it, it looked like she doesn't finish. She cuts off by some sound echoing through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds almost like a static form from an AM radio. But there's a high-pitched noise beneath it. I can't even start to fathom. What in the hell is that? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, Amy says, her voice is whispered. One of the creatures. That's what they sound like? Denis asks. I see that he's leaning against the wall again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on my rifle, ready to shoot at the next thing I see. How far away you think they are? Not really, she says. None of the hallways are blocked off by secure doors. Everyone seems to be taking place at the queue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage, now with the new purpose in our step. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching a dark hallway when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one is louder, closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell that Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as I head towards the hallway in front of us. How much further to the Hangar? Close, she says. It's just at the end of this hallway. Denis speaks up. His voice is like ice. Why don't we just haul ass then? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing on us like some new violent gravity. No, I don't like this. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by Select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area? I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask a question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy asks. But at the end of there's a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead and I feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's almost impossible to see just how far the hall extends in the darkness. The hallway has occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main areas we've come from. We continue further down, and just as if we're beginning to feel this I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead. I hear yet another shrill sound. This sounds so further away, but less demonic. How many of these things did you see? Denis asks Amy. 3. But that's just what I saw. There could be more. What did they look like? Denis asks. Can we talk about something else? Yeah, what are we dealing with? I don't even know how to explain them, she says. Monsters, that's the only word I can think of. My mind seems to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big and they seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my work kill me, she continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out angrier now. Amy steps walking causing us all to stop and turn to her. We have to do something to slow those things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves to get to the hangar first. Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set in the wall right here, she says. It hasn't been used for years though. She looks to me, pleading her case. Together we might be able to pull it closed behind and keep those things back. Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting us if the doors are locked. Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get them the hangar now. Oh god. I'm just thinking like closing the door, blocking them off. Oh no. Right, let's stop and close the doors first. Because we don't know how fast these things are, so let's just go. This is gonna kill us. This is going to kill us. Damn it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts fleeing along the hallway for a groove. Denis and I start to look as well. A minute passes and I see a small metal frame that runs from the floor and the ceiling. Is this it? Yes. I look to the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's move it, I say. Amy, Denis, and I start pulling as hard as we can. But it barely budges an inch. Behind us, a static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter and Marcus lets out a little whine. We're running out of time, we need to go. Those things are getting closer every second. This is gonna kill us. It won't make a difference, he says. We shut up and help us and then we'll find out. Reluctant, Marcus walks over and grabs the door. We all groan as strained to pull. It starts inching slowly and then begins to move steadily. Once we get started, it slides easily. As we near the wall, closing off the hallway between us, I think I can see the merest glimpse of an odd illuminated shape in the darkness. It's cut off by the slight thump of the hydraulic door being pushed against the frame. In the opposite wall, Amy turns the lock into space. Great. Now let's haul ass, says Marcus. We all turn and get moving again. Still, feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that, another shrill sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. But then again, there are two of them. It's almost like they're calling out to one another. The doors to the hangar set up and ahead like like the entrance in some enormous labyrinth. We reach the hangar doors, and I get to a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall. Nearby has a blinking red light. Any idea what this means? I ask. It's an automatic door, a failsafe from when the lockdown. I've never been down here before. If I'd known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center, he says. You need to override from there first, then use the terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor? I ask. Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Are you kidding me? We just pulled that hydraulic door and blocked off the hallway, remember? If we want to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the command center. Marcus says, isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there was another way. There was another elevator. But we'll need to go through BioChem storage. I need to stay with Denis so he can rest. I say, you two go. You know your way around this place. And you know the controls, Marcus. Fine. But we'll need to be armed. Oh no! I don't like this! I'm gonna give it to Marcus. Because I just trust him with it more. He's used a gun before. He's gonna fucking kill me, isn't he? I have Marcus the rifle and he turns to go. Amy gives me a concerned look but follows along behind him. Once Amy and Marcus make it to a good distance down the hallway, Denis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Denis looks so much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there is guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room nearby the hangar doors? Yeah, I think so, Denis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead and I see a door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I go to the door, try to open it, and find it's locked. Push with your shoulders. I give it a hard shove, but it doesn't budge. I was about to try again, but that's when I hear the dry, choking sound just down the hallway. It's barely audible, but it is not my imagination. My first thought is that it's one of those things, one of the monsters. But after calming my nerves and reassessing, it sounds more like a person. I think about how angry on my edge Amy was when she turned to leave, as well as how scared Marcus had looked. Alarm bells sound in my head, and before I know it, I'm heading back to the hall, away from the hangar doors. Stay here. I'll be right back. I whisper over the shoulder to Denis. See if you can figure out how to get into the maintenance room. Where are you going? I don't bother answering him. As I bound through the door, where Amy and Marcus went. As I enter the biochem room and start walking between the massive silos, I wonder what classified chemicals could be inside any of them. I am fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out of the intersection of halls up ahead. I think I hear something. A skittering noise, like something moving quickly. I run ahead so fast I almost trip over two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense. None at all. Marcus is on the floor, with Amy pinned beneath him. He has a rifle at her throat, pushing her down to the floor and choking her with it. Her face is turning purple and her eyes look like they're about to pop out of her head. Marcus seems to be coming out of the hallway, but as if what he's doing is perfectly normal. I start rushing towards him, but before I can really know what I'm doing, I bring my fist down in the hard arc across the bridge of my nose, and I'm rewarded with a stick crackling sound. He cries out as he falls to the ground, looking at me as if he does not understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches our neck and gasps for breath. I start to feel that I was a moment too late, just as I see the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this. I go for the rifle. He takes a single stumbling step towards it, wobbling a bit from my punch. I dive for it. When I hit the floor, it feels like I'm like I'm a baseball player trying to steal third. Our hands both fall onto it, but when I yank it away, he manages to kick me, knocking me rifle down to the floor again. The kick catches me squarely in the ribs, knocking the breath out of me. "What the hell are you doing?" he yells at me. "By killing her, I'm saving us. All of this is her fault." I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not just shoot her rather than strangle her with a rifle? Save bullets, maybe. The answer is simple. We would have heard a gunshot, and I, or those things, would have come running. We want to kill her quietly. And then what? Would he have done the same to Denis and me? It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he held a gun on us. I've been so relieved to see another human being that I'd understand just how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both dive in for the rifle, still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession. But I'm not confident I'll come away with it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard. But if this thing accidentally fires, I'm sure where I prefer the bullets to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. Oh fuck. I don't want to shoot at tanks, but I want to hear what Marcus has to say. See, I'm one of those people. I don't just go for the person that's causing issues. I want to know what the hell is going on. Like, Marcus is doing some crazy shit, but he said it's her fault. Fuck it. We're gonna make it more intense. I grunt as I push the muzzle away from my face for both of us, which ends up being towards the large tanks. In the struggle, then the gun goes off, and after a splash, a bullet hole appears in the side of the tanks. A strange green liquid starts to leak out, and I hold my breath, hoping it's not explosive or harmful. It's not. As soon as it lands on the ground, it's some kind of thick, twisted moss starts to grow unnaturally fast. I have no idea what this is or if it's safe for us to be rolling around in the ground just for a few feet from it. Luckily, this strange growth distanced Marcus from an instant. I grip the rifle tighter and push forward. The side of the rifle catches him directly in the chin. His head snaps back to his hands. Release the rifle. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around on him. For a moment, I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks as if I've betrayed him. Her people, he says. It was them that did this. He deserves to die. She did this. I look to Amy and wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see that she has managed to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself into a sitting position. You would know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under their secrecy. You didn't know what it was like to. He surprises me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I don't even try to aim carefully. Dodge. His aim is poor and his strength is failing, so I dodge him easily. I don't want to have another gunshot go off alert those creatures again. We've made enough noise already. Make a hard jab for the butt of the rifle, striking him in the chest. Something crunches, and he lets out a whoosh of air. He crumples for a moment and then goes to his knees. He roars in pain to the floor. Only after a few moments I realize that they are not purely screams of pain. The bastard is calling for them, calling for those creatures to come for us. This place is evil, along with everyone involved. If you are taking her side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes are at Amy, as well as towards me for stopping him. It makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again. Every urge in my body wants to do to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us. I am not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and not just leave him behind. Oh no. No. He's screaming and he's got I don't want to kill him because he might have some information. Fuck it, let's see how it goes. That's gonna bite me in the ass. I know it. Just like when I could barely shoot earlier as he's coming at me. I can't bring myself to deliver a kill shot. I ignore him and lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. Have to go, she says, her low raspy. They'll be here any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her near. Hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start forward and then I think of Denis. We should go back to the hangar doors. I say, I can't just leave Denis there. There's no time. Amy says, you need to come with me up to the command center now. We'll be back from soon. You're all dead now anyway, Marcus shrieks. If they don't get you, I will. He laughs maniacally after making this hooting like a madman. And as if in response, a high-pitched noise tears through the hallway. I seem to feel it in my bones. They're following his noise now, Amy says. Her voice still goes weak. She takes off away from Marcus, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. I follow her. As we move out, I hear Marcus slowly pushing himself off the ground and stumbles off, slipping in between the tanks and disappearing. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time it also reminds me of recordings I've heard of whale songs. It sounds of metallic creaking and crashing echoes through the door I came in through. They've reached the hydraulic door we pulled, Amy says, confirming what I'm thinking. The sound grows louder as if it's clear that they're struggling with it, which is good. We have a bit more time. I speed up my pace to follow Amy as she leads on the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breath, like the result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how his cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she's still forging on this is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. When you handed him the gun, you didn't know he would use on me. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. We'll find a way, don't worry. I'm not sure, she says, her eyes fixated straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I just wanted to say something encouraging, I guess. We finally come to the elevator at the end of the row of silos. The elevator doors slide open slowly. At that moment, we hear something behind us. A straggled sort of whistling sound. We step inside and turn around to face a BioChem room. Thankfully, we've been given a few moments to spare. The elevator door remains open for 3 seconds before the starter slide closed again. In those 3 seconds, I see a large shape floating towards us. A fossil laboratorius. Like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the BioChem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moves with eerie speed. That is the direction Marcus had gone. Honestly, the thought of them hunting him down doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy's pressing the button to close the elevator doors over and over, but they stay open for what seems like eternity. I curse whoever designed these damn doors. I don't think guns are gonna work, so we hide inside the elevator. Amy and I slide ourselves up against the sides of the elevators, trying to avoid being seen, but I can't help peeking through the corner. I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I see them in clear sight for the first time. I see their features, their shape, and their colors, but my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid. That's not what these things are. They're grey and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles but somewhere in between. They don't lock on these appendages, but they use them to glide. They move like ghosts and they seem to jerk every few feet or so. But I am pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they are moving exactly. It's also more than their appearance that makes them a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. That peculiar effect on the air makes their movements seem like they're moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator. They'll be inside here in a few seconds. I check the rifle and see that my ammo is diminishing. I had to start saving my shots. I'm gonna have to be choosy. Do not shoot. That's gonna kill me, isn't it? They keep advancing, even though I know the doors may not close in time. I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. My finger itches to pull the trigger, but I resist. I'm not even sure if a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electric noise and crying out in anger. The tip of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall's elevator door, but for some reason they can't get in and all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle, hoping that those creatures don't find Denis as he waits by the hangar doors, where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. And that's chapter 3. I was going to say chapter 3 is quite long. That was a quite long chapter. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Chapter 3 was long. Like, that was just long. Jesus. The blunt truth. You and 59% of players told Denis he'd probably be fine. Slow them down. You and 35% of players sided with Amy on pulling the hydraulics door. Who to trust? You and 31% of players gave the gun to Marcus. Murder or mercy? You and 58% of players left Marcus alive. Now we're later. You and 68% of players considered your bullets for layer instead of shooting the creatures. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the creatures were not going to be affected by bullets. Oh my god. Oh, my neck. I'm playing this in the dark as well, so that's not really going to help me at all. Sorry if I sound a bit weary, it's just I've been talking for like 2 hours or something. So this is a minor break, but in the recording, it's all going to be in one sitting, so that should be interesting. You and 59% of players told Denis he'd probably be fine. You and 35% of players sided with Amy on pulling hydraulics. It seemed to have worked, but the whole Marcus turning on us thing, that's what really threw me off, you know? Like, what the hell?